Hold it. Now say, talk to me.
Talk to me.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Till Death Do Scream. I'm, of course, Rob, and this is my lovely game-playing wife, Mayhem Mel.
What's up?
Talk to me. Thank you very much for your continued love and support. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Do all that stuff. All the comments and all that stuff is definitely helping us out. Just keep it going. That's really all there is to it. The algorithm is a beast that cannot be contained. So
exactly.
That was the nicest way of putting it, right?
Just like, subscribe, hit the bell, share, comment.
It's insane.
Tell us what you want us to talk about. Like, you know,
right.
Give your input.
Right. Okay. So in honor of the second release from the Philippou Brothers, which is Bring Her Back, of course. Another movie of theirs that is just making great waves at the box office for a more lower budget horror film.
Which I heard that movie is brutal.
It's dreadful to watch. That's what I heard. It's such a good movie, but it's so hard to watch.
I haven't seen it yet. I need to see it.
Especially if you're dealing with grief or some sort of trauma or, like that kind of thing.
Right.
It's not going to be easy for you to watch. It's very, very... it's very bleak. And also, another thing I heard is that, there's just a lot of child violence in it. So if you have an aversion to that kind of thing, then this is not the one for you either. You know what I mean? So, this is not, it's not like going to see it like Until Dawn or something. It's, just see a fun little horror movie. This is actually like something that's gonna scar you and, tell you everything's not all right.
Yeah.
But but again, we wanted to talk about the debut from the Philippou Brothers, which of course is Talk to Me. And I remember when this movie came out, I didn't know anything really too much about these guys. I know that there's really not a lot of backstory on them either. I know that they did a lot of things on YouTube under the name Raka Raka, which is basically they did horror comedy, they did some Star Wars parody kind of stuff, and they're complete goofballs, they are, and I absolutely love them. Every interview that they do is super fun, and they're super energized, and I think they're Greek, but they're also from Australia. But yeah, they're always just so just so much energy, and they're making these movies that are just where is this coming from?
And the thing about it is that it's not something that's been done before. It's new. So that's, for us horror lovers, we love that. Something new,
Well, the thing is also, I mean, for me anyway, it feels like, these movies, even though they're Australian, they do feel very cultural in a way, because these are very Australian movies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They definitely, I think both of them were filmed in Adelaide, even though there's not a lot of differences, it just feels otherworldly to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Especially to an American audience.
Yeah, because one of the first things you see is a kangaroo.
Yeah.
As kind of like how we would in the United States would see a deer.
Yeah.
That's dying, because it got hit. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
they have a kangaroo, you know?
Yeah, and what other fucking horror movie would you see a kangaroo? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it just has a certain.
That is definitely Australia. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the Philippou Brothers real quick, because there's really not a lot, like I said, but like they're interesting cats, man. They like to wrestle with, you know, like barbed wire and glass and like shit like that. And one of the brothers actually got arrested in a certain area of Australia because he was trying to drive a car that was filled with water. And he called it like a submersible car or something like that.
Kind of reminds me of Jackass.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like,
it reminds me of the guys from Jackass.
if Johnny Knoxville or Steve-O like made two of the greatest horror movies ever made,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's basically the Philippou Brothers.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like, I'm just saying, listen to them get like to their interviews, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And you'll be like, these two made Bring Her Back? Holy shit, dude. So obviously there is a brain in both of their heads. They obviously have a knack for storytelling and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, like they were supposed to do IP stuff. Like they had talked to Marvel, and they had talked to, I think they were supposed to do like their own rendition of Street Fighter or something, but they said they'd rather do this. They'd rather do Bring Her Back. So, you know, so they've had opportunities.
Right.
They just decide to make their own IP.
Yeah, you know.
It's just the way to go, right?
It's, you know.
And the other interesting thing, like I said, we haven't seen Bring Her Back yet, so we don't know. But like they were saying in interviews and stuff, like if you pay attention, like there's certain aspects of Bring Her Back that kind of harken to Talk to Me, which, you know, like it kind of makes it like, you know, they made their own universe or something.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. They got something there that audiences in horror want, and
yes,
Talk to Me is absolutely no exception because
it's originality. Yeah. Honestly, I believe that's what it is. It's originality, and it's like really bizarre story plots.
But also the other thing too is like, you know, they are doing the supernatural thing to it with their stuff, but it feels very like unique in terms of, you know, like it just feels like real people. It's happening to real people. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's no real like heightened, you know, characterization or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like watching Talk to Me, like even though it has like, you know, it has teens in it, it doesn't feel like a teen movie, and it doesn't feel like, you know, something like you see on like the CW or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
Like it doesn't feel like, you know, like it's supposed to be this fun, funky movie. It just happens to have characters that happen to be teenagers.
Well, let's talk about the music. I loved the music in this movie. They had a really good lineup of music. And it's all newer music too. It's not like, it's not older, like not from our generation. It's all like the newer generation music, and I loved it. I thought it was great. Yeah.
When it comes to Talk to Me itself, is like, you know, it's such an interesting thing because like you do have the supernatural element, but if you remember, there's always these things that happen, especially you who like, you know, just lives on TikTok. There's all these challenges that happen. And we lived in a time where kids were eating Tide Pods and fucking, you know, doing all this dumb shit.
Doing challenges.
And that's different where this stems from.
Okay, well, you know,
that was the idea. You know what I mean? Like kids are going to do some really stupid shit. Why wouldn't they touch a hand that's supernatural and you know, like, makes you possessed? And you just look at that and go, "Oh man, this is so much fun. It's cool."
What a rush!
And really makes Tide Pods look like a fucking intellectual sport. I mean, to mess with death like this is absolutely insane. Like for clicks.
Considering most people that are in the occult and our mediums don't even feel comfortable with going that far. Yeah.
Another thing I want to mention too, this young cast that they, you know, have for the you know, for the featured cast is absolutely remarkable, and I hope I see them in more stuff. This movie was a debut for a lot of them in terms of their acting.
That's true. They did we did not recognize a lot of these faces. A lot of them were fresh-faced actors and actresses, which is amazing because that is so rare now these days. Because most productions are always trying to get like some sort of star or a couple so they can get more money for production. Oh, and by the way, look at my nails. This is for Pride Month.
Nice. Happy Pride,
I
everybody.
did that for Pride Month.
No! So anyway, Miss Mayhem Mel, we have our candle lit here, and let's talk about the plot of Talk to Me, baby.
Talk to me.
Talk to me. Talk to me about Talk to Me. Talk to me about Talk to Me.
All right, so, in the beginning of the movie, you have this young black woman who obviously is going through some mad depression because, her mother died.
Her mother, Rhea or Ray? I can't remember.
Her mom had committed suicide, pretty much. And
well, before she knows that she, supposedly committed suicide, it was an accident. Mm-hmm. That's all her father would tell her.
Yeah, it was an accident.
Her father, Max.
So she's very distanced from her father, and she has integrated herself into her best friend's family. Mm-hmm. Pretty much, she's always over at her best friend's house, and the best friend's little brother has become like her little brother. Like, she loves them, and her best friend's mom actually has taken her on a lot, and she sleeps on their couch.
Well, look, I can relate to this. I mean, no shade to my parents. we're I'm an adult now, and we've gotten over all that shit, but there was a time where you didn't get along with your parents, and I spent tons of time at my best friend's house. You can tell
the father is really trying to reach out to her, and she's just pushing him away.
Yeah,
very cold and callous in her responses to him. And then you see that she's over at her best friend's house, and her best friend forgot to pick up her little brother, so she goes to pick up the little brother, and they're singing the Sia in the car, and all of a sudden they have to stop the car
Chandelier.
because I wanna swing. Yeah. Anyways, her and this little kiddo, they're singing, having a good time, and then all of a sudden they realize that there's a dead kangaroo in the road, and he's like, "You got to do something. You got to put it out of its misery."
Yeah.
And she can't do it, so she just drives around it, and then they get back to the house, and her friend decide they're gonna sneak out, and they go to this party.
It was a baby kangaroo, right? Because from what I heard, those jack kangaroos are big right through your car.
Dude, those things are jack,
yeah,
they're jacked.
For real.
They're scary looking. They're like a marine on steroids times 50.
Yeah.
Anyways, so they end up going to this party. Of course, in the beginning, there's a little interaction with the mom, the best friend's mom. And they end up having to take the little brother to this party, right? It was the first one they took the little brother to? Yeah, they have to.
Yeah.
Because when they walk in, the one girl's like, "Oh, hey, you're here." And then she's like, "Oh, you had to bring her." And we're fucking babysitting now? So they bring out this hand.
Yeah.
And, Mia's like, "I'll do it." And that's when you see that, she says, "Talk to me." And then she sees a ghost in front of her. She's like, "Oh my God, what the fuck?"
Well, can we talk about the hand real quick? Because, first of all, it's one of the most iconic things in modern horror right now. And it's so simple. You know what I mean? It wasn't usually we're we have the Necronomicon, right? We have,
this is like a dummy.
It's just a dummy hand with shit written all over it.
Shit written all over it.
It's excellent.
And the whole lore is that there's a real hand underneath it. If you smash the ceramic, there's a real hand. They say that, it was the hand of a psychic or somebody who could see the dead underneath it. They chopped off the hand.
Yeah.
This is a dumb shit that they're saying.
Yeah.
So anyways,
it's just so crazy to me that that's all it is.
Right.
It's literally a ceramic hand with shit written on it. And it's one of the most iconic things you ever see.
Talk to me. So they have to say, "Talk to me," and then a spirit they put their hand in the hand, they say, "Talk to me," and then they have to say, "I let you in." And then the ghost gets into them.
It's 90 seconds, right?
90 seconds. No longer than 90 seconds. Oh, it was 60 seconds. 90 seconds.
Is it 90 seconds? I'm pretty sure it's 90 seconds.
90 seconds. I think it's 90 seconds. And then after that, you have to like blow out the candle. Blow out the candle, and then you got to pull the hand away because apparently if you stay too long, then the spirit will possess you and he won't let you go.
Yeah.
The ghost will possess you.
Yeah.
So, she's having a grand old time with this, and they're just at this party. They're just laughing, having a good time, and they're all taking turns with this hand and taking videos of it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They end up sneaking back.
Well, that's what they're doing. They're on the talk. They're on the gram.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're fucking like there's kids all over the world watching this shit.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. It's like it's a viral thing. It's a viral challenge.
Right.
Yeah.
So they end up going back to her friend's house, and
I would have loved if they did that a little more though.
Right.
Like you actually see it happening all around the world.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like kids are just like, yeah, this is fucking awesome. Talk to me.
Right. So, and at the party, her friend's boyfriend shows up, which turns out is her ex-boyfriend.
Yes.
like.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're friends. And there's always these sexual jokes being made.
Yeah.
Like something about how she wants him to touch her bush or something like that. Yeah. Like what?
Something like that.
It's crazy. And apparently he's like a really good little Christian boy.
She wants him to go down under.
I come from So they end up going back to her friend's house, and they talk about how they want to do it again. And the
thing we should also mention too, that it's very important to the story, is that the first time that we see Mia playing the game, Riley is not playing the game. The young boy is not.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
That comes into play later, which is very, very important.
Right. So her friend's boyfriend decides he wants to do it. So they invite some friends over again to come over to her best friend's house to do it. And her best friend's mom's like, "You guys gonna have a party? There better not be any fucking parties here. If there's a party, you are banned from coming to this house ever again." She's looking at the boyfriend. The mom's like,
"Yep, Australia, USA, some things never change."
Never change.
One thing we forgot to mention is at the very beginning of the movie that there's a death that happens.
Oh my God, you're right. So at the very beginning of the movie, there's this young man, there's this guy who's going to pick up his brother from this party, and he's freaking the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
He's freaking the fuck out. And he ends up stabbing his brother and then stabbing himself in the throat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that actually happens. That happens before. That's pre their party, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the guy that killed himself was the one that actually passed the hand on to the guy who has the hand.
Right. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's very subtly, that's the thing though, man. It's like you don't really need a lot of exposition when it comes to this movie. That's what I really kind of appreciate about it. Some of the storyline is sort of like blink and you miss it. I do kind of appreciate that about it because you don't really need to know everything. Every
little detail, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, the friends all come over, and the boyfriend does it. Oh my God, that scene is freaking hilarious. The ghost gets in him and looks right at his girlfriend. He's like, he hates it when you touch him. Mm-hmm. And then he starts playing with himself. He's like, and the dog comes up and sticks its tongue down his throat.
Man.
Anyways, so he freaks out and leaves the room.
You know what? Look,
and everybody else.
We're cat people, but it doesn't really it doesn't have anything to do with us. But some people just like to openly tongue kiss their dog, and that makes me sick.
Anyways, so he leaves the room, and then they decide to kick the dog out of the room, shut the door, and they're all taking their turns again. And then the little boy decides he wants to do it, and the sister's like, no. And then the best friend's like, just let him. You know what I mean? What harm can it do? Well, the young boy does it, and it's Mia's mom. Mia's mom, and Mia's trying to talk to her mom, and then it ends up going too long, and the boy ends up getting really hurt, like really bad.
Yeah.
Like going to the emergency room hurt bad. Yeah. And the mom is freaking out on Mia, saying, you know, get the fuck out, this is all your fault. Mm-hmm. And Mia is starting to see her mom. She's starting to see her mom.
Yeah.
And
well, let me ask you this: if it's such a sensation between like teenagers, like I mean, like you know, it's kind of like when we're growing up. You know, it's like it's 11 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are and that kind of shit? Like, why is it not more present to in this world to the adults that this is actually a real thing? Like, it's only the teenagers that actually believe it. You know what I mean? But they've actually seen it happen numerous times.
You know what? Because adults would be like, I'm not fucking with that.
Yeah, I guess so.
No, it's the young and dumb ones. Right. That would be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fuck with this.
Yeah.
Us older people are gonna be like, no.
Yeah.
We know better. It's just dumb. Don't do that.
Well, if the hand is an allegory for drugs, then I guess that makes sense. Sure. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That kids would like be into the Molly and all that shit.
Right.
Yeah.
No, okay. I think this is an allegory for being dumb and following the trend.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Like, but, you know, but it's like pot smoking. It's like, you know, drug use or drinking, you know, like with your friends or whatever. Or, you know, like we said, doing dumb shit online.
Mm-hmm. Mia's starting to go down the rabbit hole. She's freaking out. She's seeing shit. She sees her mom constantly. She's having conversations with her mom.
Yeah.
And she sees this young boy, and she gets kicked out of the room, and she ends up having her best friend's boyfriend take her back. Because remember, they were friends.
Yeah.
And they're like sleeping on her bed. Obviously, they're not like naked or anything like that.
That's completely platonic.
Yeah, they're completely. But she ends up seeing this ghost that is like sucking on his toes, and she's trying to wake him up. Yeah. And it turns out it's her because she got possessed somehow by a ghost. And then it's
a ghost of Tarantino. Okay.
And then, and then she gets back into.
Oh, also, I want to mention this too because like I haven't really gotten to the lore of it, but apparently, like I guess through. Constant viewings and stuff. There are fans of this movie that have just determined that there are actual backstories for each one of these demons and ghosts and shit in the movie.
Oh, I believe it.
Kind of like 13 Ghosts. You know what I mean? Has their own like histories and stuff.
I believe it.
But I don't know what they are.
Right. So they end up going back to. She ends up going back to see the little boy. And
like you said, he's in the hospital.
He was in the he'd fucked himself up again. Mm-hmm. In the shower, like.
And she sees the dead Rue.
Yeah, she sees this little girl and she does the talk to me thing with her, and the little girl shows her where the boy is. Mm-hmm. He's stuck in their realm and they're torturing him.
Yeah.
And she's freaking out. She's like, we've got to get him out of there. Mm-hmm. We've got to try this. She tries doing the talk to me thing with the hand to get him to like maybe blow up the candle to see if they can get him out of there. Nothing's working.
Well, that's the other great thing too, is like, it's not like this movie turns into Insidious all of a sudden.
No, it's like a slow insanity for her.
Right, like, but when you see the realm of the dead or whatever, it's just like, like the ghosts and, people inside just kind of look like dirty and wet. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just very like...
gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Gross. So, they get a hold of the guy who originally had the hand's brother, the one who got stabbed. Mm-hmm. And he's like, fuck you! And he's like out of there. He's like, you guys said you were his friends, but you weren't there when he needed you.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Anyways, and then she goes back home, and she's just like seeing her mom, and like the ghost of her mom is saying like, no, I didn't commit suicide. He killed me. That's not your dad.
Yeah.
That's not your dad.
Yeah.
And you don't know, like, and all of a sudden she's being attacked by her dad, but it's not her dad.
Yeah.
And then her dad does bust in the room and she stabs him in the neck.
Yeah.
And then she realizes that she has to.
So demon that's supposedly Rhea, the mom, is a little trickster, a little prankster, and likes to, fuck with people.
Right. She contacts her best friend, tells her to come back to her house. In the meantime, she's jetting over to the hospital, and the mom, her friend's mom sees her, and she says, "I know it's not your fault. I know you would never do anything to hurt him."
Yeah.
Because she thought she'd given him drugs or something like that, and she's like, "There was no drugs in his system."
Yeah.
And the mom leaves and is talking to her daughter, and her daughter's like, Mia's unhinged. Like, she's dangerous.
Yeah.
And Mia ends up grabbing up the little boy and taking him outside.
Mm-hmm.
And
heading towards traffic.
Heading towards the highway, yeah. And the sister ends up getting there in time, and Mia goes flying into the traffic.
Yeah.
And she dies. And then she stands up.
So here's my question. Do you think she was intentionally trying to kill Riley, or,
I don't know. I don't think at that point, I think she couldn't tell what was reality and what wasn't.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you see her standing up, and then she's in the hospital, and then she sees her dad, and she's trying to chase after her dad, and then she sees a light.
Yeah.
And then she hears "Talk to me," and she sees a bunch of guys with a hand.
Well, that's what I want to go back to real quick, because we're talking about this movie definitely being Australian, but we had seen the kangaroo get hit by the car, and then there's a scene where the kangaroo's in the hospital room, in the lobby, and it's all its guts are all out and stuff. That's so
it's so gross.
No, I'm just saying usually
kill
in an American movie that would be seeing a dog hung up in a tree or something. You know what I mean? You would never think to see a kangaroo used as a prop for
right. So in the end, she ends up becoming a ghost that's being used for
the game. And she basically she gets summoned by someone in Greece.
I guess somewhere in Greece, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
I let you in. It's awesome because the thing about it is you don't necessarily know what's happening.
Right.
And she doesn't either.
All she knows is that she's being pulled in. Well, I mean, she was already having a hard time figuring out what was real and what wasn't anyways.
Yeah.
So she probably doesn't even know she's dead.
Yeah.
Until the very end,
Yeah. Until she got summoned. So it was almost like she was in some purgatorial waiting room, and then all of a sudden it's just okay, you're on.
Right. With that being said, I release you.
Talk to me. Okay. Well, that was Talk to Me. Little bit of a shorter episode this week, but I think we covered quite a bit of it.
Go watch it. I can't give you all the details every time. Come on now.
Yeah.
The episode ends up being too long here.
Yeah, sure. And I agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, go see Bring Her Back too. I mean, I know it's not. I'm kind of dreading watching this movie. I kind of am.
That's emotional damage.
I don't like seeing things happen to children, and it seems like there's quite a bit of it in this. The supernatural element kind of gives it a pass, so it's not we're just watching some movie about child abuse and SA or something, because there's no SA in it, thank God. But
that would be bad.
But apparently there is a knife scene that'll just.
So okay, I'm gonna have to watch this movie, but I'm gonna be
if you don't cringe, there's
yeah.
This is for sickies like us. Normal people are not gonna like this film.
Like us.
Yeah. I'm just saying, really true grit horror fans that want to try out new experiences and all that kind of shit.
Oh yeah.
A normie would have a really hard time with this movie and ask you, why the fuck did you take me here? That is our show. Thank you very much for your continued love and support, as we said before. Please like and subscribe and comment and all that good stuff. And so we decided that we're going to continue. Well, we should let you know that there's going to be one more episode, and then we're taking a vacation. And then when we come back, we'll come back and do another episode after that.
And ask us how long it's been since we've been on a vacation. It's going to be nice.
How old's our son now? 10?
10.
Shit.
It's been 9 and 3/4 of a year.
We are going to continue our horror journey in the summer with, I think, personally, I think it's one of the best invasion films ever made, in my opinion. Like, a lot, people say The Purge or whatever, but I think this is it. We're going to talk about The Original Strangers.
This movie's so fucked up.
Why? Because you're home.
Yeah. Just because we can.
Just because.
So
yeah, Strangers next week, and with that, we will scare you later. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
I just want to tell you something.
What do you want to tell me?
You are my girl.
I love you, Jimmy.
What is that?
It's okay, there's nothing here. I haven't heard a dog bark or a car pass. It's nothing.
There's someone out there.
Hello?
What is it?
It's my phone.
Oh my God.
We gotta get out of here. But open the door, and I just want you to run, okay?
Why are you doing this to us?
Because you were home.